For this race, I think if you pick Kyle up with 150 to go and you drop him in ninth, I think he finishes ninth. And
probably,
he was the best car, no doubt, but he wasn't leagues better than everyone. I mean, Denny was pretty much with him the whole time. He never got more than a, second and a half lead on him. Now, granted, Bristol, second and a half's a pretty decent lead, but
we had a big lead there at some point in stage 3. She got through lap traffic a lot better than Denny, or at one point. Even Carson Hoceval was right there with
Carson
Denny.
was fast, but if you pick him up and drop him in fifth, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it back to him, I don't think. And you can tell that because he couldn't pass 25th place cars to lap him. Chris Buescher was his kryptonite all day. Every time he got around Chris to try to lap him, it took him 20 laps to get around him. Ryan Preece, same thing.
Riley Herbst.
Riley Herbst. There were some guys that were difficult for him to pass, and that was really the only action that you ever saw on TV is when the leaders got in lap traffic. The leader, because there was really only one. But when Larson got into lap traffic, you were just wondering, is he going to get held up enough for Denny to get there? And he never really did. But it was really tough to pass anybody, and even if you were the 25th place car, you could hold your own against the fastest car on the racetrack just because of the way the car runs on that track specifically. So,
and it's all, to be fair, it's always been kind of hard to pass.
Sure, it's
Bristol.
supposed to be.
We would lap down cars, just a small track, not a lot of room for error, stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like it shouldn't take somebody 20 laps to pass the 25th place car.
No, it shouldn't. And unless it's,
Ryan Newman.
Yeah, there are some guys that make it really difficult on you, but Chris Buescher's not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal.
And, it was just, it's disappointing because, and we're just going to echo everything else you've probably already heard, but, Bristol used to be the best racetrack on the circuit. And there was
racetrack.
There was no argument.
Yeah.
And, everybody, you would ask, if I'm going to my first NASCAR race, where should I go? The answer was always go to the Bristol night race. Mm-hmm. And now, I don't know if I would tell anybody to watch that race on TV. It's just...
It's 45 degrees.
It's bad. It's bad racing. That is, including COTA, the worst race of the year. And it's not because...
At least COTA had a good finish.
Yeah, and it's not because Kyle dominated. Because
I like COTA more than you.
We've seen domination at other races, right? We've seen the 24, dominate Darlington last week. Now, granted, he didn't win the race, but that was a better race than this. We've seen...
Christopher Bell will kind of dominate Phoenix. He would have if it wasn't for the option tires.
Yeah, we saw Kyle Larson dominate the Homestead race in the Xfinity Series a couple weeks ago. Way better race than what we saw at Bristol. So just because somebody's leading every lap doesn't mean that the race is bad, but there's just no racing that occurs at Bristol anymore. It's not competitive because you can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
going the same speed.
Every car is out there going the same speed. There's only one line on the racetrack that's viable until 150 laps into the run. I texted you this. That last run where Blaney stayed out hoping for a caution, he was the only car on the lead lap.
For 20 laps.
He had 150 laps on his tires, and he was running the same exact lap times as Kyle Larson, who had 10. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. It does not make any sense how you can run a whole fuel run and you're running the exact same speed. I literally cannot fathom how you can build a tire that lasts that long. If Goodyear can build a tire that lasts that long, fucking start selling them because I want them on my Jeep because I'll never have to change them. Because that's the tire. They're going literally over 100 miles an hour and a half mile with fucking all of the G-forces in the world on those tires, and they don't wear. It does not make any sense. And then it drops.
That's the same tire from
and that's what. And it drops 10 degrees, and they can't run 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It does not make... I do not understand it.
I don't think the teams understand it, though, either.
I don't think Goodyear understands it.
Yeah.
To hear Tony Stewart tell it 20 years ago, Goodyear needs to quit making these tires. They pulled out of NHRA, they pulled out of Formula One, they pulled out of IndyCar, they pulled out of everything else because they suck at building tires. I don't know if that's the case or not, but what the fuck?
Well, what I will say is
there's tire wear in late model racing.
Goodyear, I don't want, people brought this up, I don't want Goodyear to become the scapegoat for what the real problem is. It's the car.
Sure it is.
And it's NASCAR not being able to open their eyes to
you're not wrong
that this car sucks.
You're not wrong. I'm not saying that the car is mostly the problem. However, the car isn't going to change. They're not going to change the car. So you look at Goodyear to build a tire, and I get it. They have tires to sell. They don't want fucking tires wearing and blowing out because everybody's going to look at it and say they can't build a tire.
Yeah.
At least the layman on the side of the street that doesn't know racing, if they hear, on Sports Center that there was 27 wrecks at the Bristol race this weekend because tires kept blowing, they might not go buy a Goodyear tire. But, to race fans, we don't care because we know that that's not the same thing. But it does not make any sense to me how a tire can be so sensitive to temperature. Like, I get it if it's 1,000 degrees on the racetrack and fucking 15 degrees. There's going to be a little bit of a difference. I get it. But 10 degrees? Like 50 to 60 degrees where it's like that's a normal temperature. Like that's not crazy. It's not 120 degrees outside. It's not 20 degrees outside. That's a normal temperature to be running a race in the middle of the day, especially in April in Bristol, Tennessee. Like, you should build a tire and know what it's going to do between 40 and 80 degrees because that's where the temperature is going to be then. So when you show up to the racetrack and you can't figure out why the tires are wearing at 55 degrees but not wearing at 65 degrees, that doesn't make any sense to me. I do not understand how you can build a tire and not know why it's doing what it's doing. That's what you do for a living. Like, this isn't guesswork. So Goodyear does have some blame here. And I just don't get it. I don't understand why they can't figure it out. They've had a year to figure out why the spring race at Bristol happened last year. And they show up with the same tire, and the sun is out, and it's 10 degrees warmer, and you get the worst race of the year. It doesn't make any sense. Now, granted, like you said, the car is a problem. They suck on short tracks. They've sucked on short tracks for 3-4 years. We know this. Horsepower. Give them 1,000 horsepower, they're going to wear some fucking tires out because they're going to spin them. I don't know. You were there. It looked like to me as soon as they got to the center of the quarter, it was fucking mash it down and hold the wheel straight.
The only time I heard somebody get out of the gas when everybody hit the wall.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody else. Now, to be fair, it was wrong. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be 100% accurate on that.
It looked like they got out of the throttle, let it sit in the corner, and then just stood on it. And there's no throttle management. And
I only saw like 3 guys all day get loose.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe got loose. Brad got loose.
The 23 got loose.
23 got loose, I think. Yeah, there's probably some more that I missed.
But it's a product of complacency. And NASCAR is complacent. And they don't want to fix the issue. And, it's just going to be more of the same. I've been saying it for years. It's going to be more of the same on these short tracks because NASCAR will not change the car. And I think maybe it was Denny. I saw a clip of Denny's podcast. This car's been having this issue since before it came out. When they first tested this car, you got to remember, they were going to run 500 horsepower.
5.7 or 550, maybe 550, 520, something like that, yeah.
And they couldn't do anything. They knew it was a problem from go. Mm-hmm. And NASCAR compromised and gave them 670.
Yeah. Need 900.
Give them some. I know it's just a video game, a fucking simulator. But after the Bristol race, I'd re-downloaded an NR 2003 made by Papyrus, the precursor to iRacing. Widely considered the greatest NASCAR sim ever made. All right? Load up Bristol. And, dude, I was having the fucking time of my life driving those real stock cars around that place on the sim because it was throttle management, it was line control, it was tire preservation, it was bump and run, it was getting loose. It was everything that short track racing has always been. And now you're driving the NASCAR IndyCar series where it's pedal to the metal every lap, no brakes, nothing, just drive it into the corner, it sticks, you throttle back up.
It's literally, if you played NASCAR games back in the day, it's NASCAR 07.
Car drives itself.
Car drives itself for you. And that's maybe a little up there. Obviously, it's still a difficult car to drive because these guys and drivers complain about, oh, you're good, and all of a sudden the back end steps out and you're spinning out and you really don't see it coming. Like, you don't feel it. You don't feel
they
the back end
didn't have that problem at Bristol.
No. I mean, by other tracks, though. So, yeah, like, and I get the Goodyear thing, but that's a lot of the like, and also you got to think these teams, the good teams, the big teams, have figured it out. This car was
Chase Elliott didn't.
You know what I mean? Like,
none of the RFK Fords had it.
Well,
Joey sucked.
But he started last. To be fair, Ross Chastain started 35th. He finished in the top 10. He had a pretty good car. He was able to move his way through the field. He used some strategy, but
the 24 was bad for half the race.
Yeah, until he got track position. Until Blaney and Chase pitted.
Bubba finished 20th.
Yeah. So, like, but I'm not saying just because of Bristol, but I'm saying just other tracks. We've been dominated this year by Hendrick and Joe Gibbs. And you could throw Penske in there.
They've won all but one race.
Yeah.
And they probably should have won the one that at Vegas.
Yeah. So my point is, this car, not simple, but Brett Griffin, I think, a couple years ago on DBC warned us about this. He's like, yeah, it's parity right now. We had different winners quite a bit, especially 2022. We had 18, 19 different winners. And then 2023 was a little bit less. And I think he said on the podcast, he's like, yeah, the bigger teams are going to just they have more resources to get more comfortable with this car, get a leg up on the competition. And with it being a spec car already, the gap's going to start getting wider.
You find a 10th.
Oh, yeah, in this car, you find a
good.
10th, you're good as gold. You're going to win the race unless something crazy happens. So, yeah, I think that's part of it, too. The big teams have kind of figured this out, the good drivers. And, and also this car fits different drivers' driving style more than others. Obviously, I think it fits William Byron's really well. It fits Christopher Bell's. Fits Kyle Larson's, although Kyle Larson's probably good at any generation of race car. He's just that talented. But, yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. But I just don't want Goodyear to be the main reason. Yes, it's part of the reason. But let's not just point at Goodyear and say, you need to make, tires that last more, and then we'll have, 10 blowouts somewhere, and then we'll be screaming at Goodyear for having shitty tires. Like at Texas 3 years ago.
I'd rather see.
Now, to be fair, at Texas was the first year of the next gen car. We shit on Goodyear because couldn't run more than 30 laps. People were blowing right rears and left fronts, and
I'd rather see that.
I know
100 times out of 100.
I know, but at the time we were like, oh my God, Goodyear fucking sucks, stuff like that. We can't have our cake and eat it too. We got to be good with one end or the other. You can't be good with both or be mad at both.
I just want a good fucking race. I don't care.
I do too.
I don't care how it happens.
I know.
If you can design a tire that lasts 500 laps, do it. If it fucking produces good racing.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't care if the tires last.
If
you can pass.
If this tire was put on a Gen 4 car, do you think we'd have more passing? I do.
Yeah.
I think we'd have way better racing.
The difficulty with that is,
I know the diameter, it's a bigger tire. I get all that.
The difference.
That's another problem too. The tire's bigger.
Yeah,
there's no interliners either, which is a problem as well.
I think really, and this is another problem. If they don't want to change the tires, give them any horsepower, take the fucking ride height. Give us a ride height rule. Get those cars up off the track.
Take the underbody out. Not the underbody, the diffuser out.
They need to, and I've been saying this for years, implement a ride height rule. Now, at tracks a mile and a half or bigger, sure, slam them to the ground so they don't flip over when they get sideways. Sure. But at short tracks, mile-long tracks where the speeds are low enough that they're not going to flip if they turn sideways, get those fucking cars off the ground. They're going to drive worse, which means it's going to be more in the driver's hands. And that's what we want to see. We don't want to see NASCAR turn into Formula One racing, which is who built the best car. You could
qualified the best.
You could put me in the driver's seat. If I got a better car than fucking 2008 Jimmy Johnson, I'm gonna win the race because I've just got the better car. That's not what NASCAR racing is or has ever been. And now I'm not saying Kyle Larson fits that mold because he is the most talented driver out there and he's in the best car. That's why he can lead 450 laps at Bristol 2 races in a row.